up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Hops Geek News, a podcast that talks about comic books, movies, TV shows, and of course, you know, we got a beer of the week. Today's episode is going to be the second half of Supernatural Season 7. We started it. We gave you like minimal effort a while ago. However, I have blown through Season 8, 9, and now I'm halfway through 10. So we got to go back and do some catching up, especially because this week at Megacon, we are going to have a Supernatural panel right at 6:15 on Thursday, February 1st, to basically go over like what if Sam and Dean were in our favorite horror movies, which is going to be great. Make sure you follow our social media accounts at Hops Geek News to find out exactly when and where we will be. We have two big panels Thursday right off the bat at Megacon. Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly are our second panel at 7 p.m. And then, of course, we are going to have a big meetup at Gatlin Hall on Sunday at 6 o'clock to kind of close out Megacon weekend. But that said, we are also going to be at Epcot Friday. We're going to be at Mosh Isley Saturday. Big week coming here. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're sharing. Make sure you're getting all of that good stuff.
Partying like it's $19.99.
We're going to be hurting pretty bad the next week. We're too old for this.
No, because we're going to drink Pedialyte we're going to drink Pedialyte in the morning and at night. We're going to have all our electrolytes. I'm going to have big bars. We're not going to drink on an empty tummy. We got this.
I'm making waffles. Not really, but yes. Now, if you've never listened to the show, by all means, we start with what we are drinking. We go into what we've messed up on or had to fix in the previous week because we are honest, humble people. We fix our mistakes. And then, of course, we go into what we have been reading or watching, and then some news before our main topic. So what we are drinking today is a fine, delicious beer. Lauren, why don't you take it away for the beer of the week?
So this is from Family Business Beer Company, owned by Dean Winchester, Jensen Ackles himself, called Soup Juice. So this is named after Soldier Boy. You got to get your soup juice. It is a juicy IPA. This brewery is in Dripping Springs, Texas. It is only 6%, so it's nice and light. It's very juice forward. I really like this one. And when I was at the brewery a few years ago, I had one I think called Sun Juice, and I feel like this is kind of that. I actually just checked Tavour because they've been putting it on Tavour. That's why I got it, because I haven't been in the brewery in a while. And there was a pre-order, and I didn't do it. Now I'm upset because now I see their Hamilton Pale on there, which is a great solid pale ale as well. And I put notifications on Tavour for Family Business. Why it's not notifying me, I don't know.
Josh turned them off.
Probably. He's like, she's had enough soup juice. Just the soup juice.
And, turn it off.
It's a nice juicy, and it's only 12 ounces, which is nice. So many beers are 16. And I always sometimes feel like that's a little bit too much. And it makes me so happy drinking Family Business Beer Company.
Oh yeah. This beer is really like, when I tell you that it's really juicy, delicious, bursting with aromas, man. As soon as you open the can and pour it, man, it smells just wicked good. And then of course the flavor is just full of flavor, and the can's really cool. This is one we've been sitting on for Supernatural. And yeah, dude, I really enjoy this beer, and I think a good 12-ounce can, man. It's not over too much. And
I did feel a little bamboozled though, because Tavour said 16 ounces. So I was like, because I've ordered this beer more than once. So I was like, they're doing 16 ounce this time. Okay, I'll get more bang for my buck. And when I opened it, I was like, it's 12. I must have remembered that wrong. And then when they had the most recent pre-order, it still said 16 ounces. So I was like,
they owe you beer.
You sons of
the way
bitches.
I see it.
They owe me a whole beer. That's 12 ounces right there.
I'm telling you, they should send you some beer.
Those sons of bitches. But when we get to season 8, and we do have Ryan Curtis on, who was part of Supernatural. He did special effects. I'm going to be drinking the Grackle, which is such a fantastic stout. And I think I literally got the last couple that were on Tavour because it wouldn't let me order more than 3. And I tried to order 6. So that one's fantastic. If that one comes on again, I'll definitely grab that, because they barrel aged that one too. And the barrel aged was so good. And then
go ahead.
You think you're what?
Oh, I was just going to say, I'm going to be bringing Richmond, Virginia. I'm going to have to go through the Vale this week end probably, because I want to grab some to bring as like a what's up gift for Jackson. I know Colin, we should get him his own, what he drinks, because he said the weird shit. He likes So anybody not familiar with who we're talking about, these are the comic book creators collectively known as the Hive Mind. We've interviewed them before. They've done Batman, they've done Guardians of the Galaxy, Star Trek, and they're the ones who are doing the panel that Matt had mentioned before. But when we had them on, Jackson's into it. But I remember Colin saying he was into like Red Flanders, which is like the beers that taste like vinegar. Yeah. So if I can find a weird beer, I'll grab him a weird beer. But
He likes weird shit.
Try to go through the veil this weekend to remember that. But I'm also going to be bringing like a suitcase down. I'm going to have a couple bottles with me that we can crack open and share. Because
I don't know when we're going to crack them open and share. We'll try.
There's the after party. Probably Thursday night after we got to the. I don't know. We'll find.
After party. The after the party is the hotel lobby. After the hotel lobby is my bar area at my house.
Lauren's bar area. I don't know. We'll figure out a time. I'm sure. Maybe allegedly. Who knows? But
Josh wanted to bring beers to Mosh Isley. I was like, what are we going to do? Drink in the parking lot?
Dude, it's like teenagers again. Why not?
Until we get arrested.
Because those drinks are going to be expensive inside.
They're probably going to be shitty too, or it's going to be, I mean, if it's highlight, I'm fine with that.
Look, dude, after a long day, Saturday at Megacon, I'm getting sauced up before I go there. No, all bets are off. And we're going to
pee light in the car.
Yeah, we will. Now, let's go into what we've messed up and looked into. Now, if you remember last week, we had DT, our boy from Space Castle, and he came on and he forgot to mention that he was working at a t-shirt shop in Tempe, Arizona when Scott Pilgrim came out. Now, he was talking about Scott Pilgrim's Smashing Pumpkin shirt in the movie and in the comics. He actually recreated that shirt, but he switched the SP for Scott Pilgrim for DT for his name. And he said he'll take a picture with it. We're still waiting. Still waiting. Anticipating. Yeah, but no, that's really cool, man. That was a great episode. DT's such a sweetheart. Go check out his stuff. Go listen to that episode, and shout out to all of our patrons as well, because I wanted to give you guys special. Without you guys, some of the stuff that we're doing at MegaCon wouldn't be possible. So thank you guys for doing that first and foremost. We're gonna have a bunch of stickers to hang out. I know we're kind of droning on, but this is this is probably the biggest event that we will have gone to, because also we are probably going to be linking up with Jeff Johns and the Ghost Machine crew, doing something with them.
I feel like that's one I don't want to talk about till it happens, or till we know what's going to happen.
This is like a strictly business Comic-Con. Like it's going to be
after
fun.
We're getting sussed up. We're going to drink all the beers.
We're getting wasted. But in between getting wasted, it's going to be strictly business. And by business, I mean, we're going to get sauced up and then interview some creators. Actually, that would be we should do like a Hot Ones style episode sometime. Like if we're ever together, we're drinking 12% stouts and do a flight of beer.
Yeah.
Ooh,
then I start really yelling at people about sharks.
Actually, I honestly think that would be cool if we because we're going to go to the brewery.
Until the next day when you're like, oh God, what did I say?
We're going to go with Colin and Jackson over to Half Barrel. Like, guys, what if we just threw on the mic, got a flight, and we just did some Hot Ones? That would be cool, but I'm not going to overbear them.
As I call my husband to come pick us up.
That would be, I'm just saying, that would be a really cool style for our show. Like a sauced ones. Is that what we can call it?
That would be funny. It's like drunk history.
Yeah, except for just drunk comic books. Ooh.
I mean, we have hops in our name. People know we drink.
Yeah, I got ideas all of a sudden. I have some cool ideas, like a patron style episode where we drink heavy beers and we're trying to I don't know. I got ideas. Anyways, sorry everybody. Lauren, what have you been reading or watching this week?
So I'll go over the comics I reviewed for Nerd Initiative first. Obviously, we did Ghost Machine together. If you want to know our full thoughts on that, obviously we both loved it, but we did a whole issue with Nerd Initiative on that. We did a live episode on which you can find on our YouTube and their YouTube. That's the comic book line that Jeff Johns is releasing. You've probably heard us talk about it a little bit. It's introduced some new characters and some characters that are somewhat new, but it's fantastic. It's only like $5 and it's a huge issue introducing you to all these characters and all these stories that they're in the midst of creating.
Definitely. Dude, I told you, definitely. Like I said, it's like when you go and you're getting your wedding cake and you're tasting different cakes. That was me.
I didn't do that. I just went. Yeah, I just got a cake.
I didn't even have a cake. I just went to the courthouse, but
I had a legit wedding. Our cake didn't even taste that good, but I found a Nightmare Before Christmas cake and turned it into a beachy cake. So it was like a Tim Burton beachy cake. And then, it didn't taste great, but I didn't like wedding planning. It was not fun.
Fine. Well, somebody out there is going to get my reference when you're tasting different tastings and you want more of that thing.
We literally have a beer podcast. You could say you get a taster and then the one you like get the most, you can pick and choose what you're going to read.
Like the most,
on our episode
of sauced ones, but no, you're sitting there and I wanted more. I was reading each story, and right as soon as the stories got really freaking good, it was over because obviously they're waiting till April to release.
Yeah, this is a bit of a teaser.
It's good.
Yeah, but we also reviewed the first 6 issues of the Geiger, which is connected to this. And then I grabbed the Junkyard Joe. I just happened to find that. I've been going through some of the older comics more at the comic book shop to get those, which are cheaper too. But so I've been finding some stuff in there, which I usually never do. And I found Junkyard Joe, and that's connected to Ghost Machine. And what was really nice is at the end, because it's about a robot during the Vietnam War, and basically his morals mess up his settings. Oh. And he, at the very end, though, there was like a veteran dedication, and it was like all the guys that are like working on Ghost Machine that were part of this had stories. And Jeff Johns even mentioned this when we talked to him.
Yeah, they did a fundraiser.
Yeah, it was a fundraiser. And then they all had people in their family that were in like World War II or the Vietnam War. And then they talked a little bit something about them. So I thought that was really cool. Schlub number 6.
Oh, yeah. The finale of this arc, which I hope we're getting more of.
Yes, it ended with the end ? But, we've had Tyrell Cannon. Why did I think that was wrong? Kenny Porter on the show before. So those are 2 of the 3 guys that have been.
Stegman's going to be at Megacon. So maybe we can get Stegman.
Oh, yeah. Why did I not realize that?
Yeah, he's at Megacon.
Oh, that's fun. Oh, now I feel like, okay, I'm bringing comic books too to have people sign.
Me too. I have the Schlub, Ghost Machine, Thunderbolts 1, all of those ready to go. Yeah.
I think I'm going to do Guardians of the Galaxy, but have Jackson and Kelly sign that one. So that was fantastic, fun run. I really liked how it ended because it wasn't a cliche ending. It didn't end how I expected it to. So I don't want to say how, but the Schlub, Image Comics, highly recommend that. The last one I've reviewed was Thrawn Alliances Part 1. So I think I had talked recently, I picked up the other Thrawn comic book not long ago, and it was literally just a summary of the book I read this past summer. And so this comic book, Thrawn Alliances Part 1, was the first half of the second book, Thrawn Alliances. And it's the one that takes place on Batuu, which is at Disney. And it literally goes back and forth from Thrawn and the Ascendancy with Anakin Skywalker to Grand Admiral Thrawn, who's part of the Empire, and Darth Vader. So the story goes back and forth, and you see parallels of how they were working together then and working together now. And of course, nobody knows that Anakin is Vader except for,
Thrawn deduced it.
Spoilers. So that's what I've been reading other than another book, but I'll let you go over your comics before I go into the book.
Yeah. So comic book wise, Schlub, of course, which I absolutely adored because it wasn't that traditional, comic book that's a superhero. It's superhero, but it wasn't traditional superhero. I thought Roger's story and his character development were insane. And then, man, above all else, I want to shout out Tyrell Cannon for the absolute work that man did.
All those books. Details. Yes.
It's just, he put his heart and soul into this comic book, and he really did such a beautiful, every panel, just so much detail, so much just Easter eggs. And there was so much flavor and color. And, I would love to get a print of this in some capacity, or I might even just hit up Tyrell and be like, hey, I'll pay you to get something commissioned because his artwork is amazing to put up in my comic book room because he's just such a good artist. And they actually
Stegman might have some there just to sign.
That's true. Stegman is an artist. He's been doing some variant covers for some other stuff, which such as Kill Your Darlings. He's been doing the variant covers for Kill Your Darlings, which is my other favorite Image comic book right now. However, they are going to be coming on the show in April when the trade comes out to promote the trade. So look at having, they're going to be coming on the show. I did Dracula issue 4 this week, which wrapped up the 4-issue miniseries. Martin Simmons did the art, and James Tynan did the writing. It was really good, man. There was like a slow burn, and it built up suspense. And then finally we have this 4th and final issue, which it kicked off their Universal Monsters, because now the next one that's going to happen is Creature from the Black Lagoon from Skybound Entertainment and Image. So be on the lookout for that. I did Punisher number 3 from our friend David Pepose. That was a really good issue. It's Joe Garrison is still on the hunt for, whoever killed his his family, and Fearmaster.
Just can't stop thinking about Batman.
Apparently not, and Fearmaster gets inside his mind, and you see like these zombified images of his family, and it's really heart wrenching. And it's a really, really well, Dave Watchter did the art, really well done on that one as well. And then obviously Ghost Machine, and then Titans Beast World Tour, Star City issue 1. that was a really solid comic book. It's Ryan Parrott was one of the writers. There's a bunch of different ones because there's 3 different stories, like Green Arrow and Connor Hawke are in one. Essentially, Beast Boy has gone out of control, and he released these spores out, which have turned heroes such as Green Lantern turned into a toad. And
it's like the lizard guy from Spider-Man.
Yeah. And, the creatures have turned into, like, Black Canary is a canary, big version, and things like that. And it's very good, very well written. It was fun. It was like a fun, lighthearted, it felt like a fun episode. There's obviously more to come from that. And then why don't you go ahead and talk about what you read before I go into the 2 things I've been watching?
So I read a Supernatural book this weekend. I've never given them the time of day. The covers look cheesy, but so do the covers for the TV show. Brielle, my daughter, was literally laughing when she goes, "This looks like the cover of a romance novel." And I'm like, I know, Brielle. So do the covers for the stupid CW show. Not stupid show. It's my favorite show. But it was a really easy read. It was just over 300 pages. Very simple. But what was kind of cool about it was it takes place between certain episodes in season 2. And I felt that the author, it's called Nevermore because there's something to do with Edgar Allan Poe. So, quote the Raven, Nevermore.
You typed Supernatural Evermore in there, and I was like, oh my God, is this the Taylor Swift crossover?
Did I write Evermore?
You did. I was like, it's Supernatural is in their T Swift era. Oh my God.
Oh, that's so funny. See, I wasn't even thinking of Taylor Swift if I did that on accident. I wrote an article recently for Attractions Magazine about a complex called Evermore. Anyways, it's Nevermore. But they did. So it's basically like 2 hunts are going on at the same time in New York. So they're working. Ash sent a referral to somebody like, "Hey, I have a friend who's dealing with a ghost, Bronx. Can you go help them?" And they're like, "Yeah." And then Sam's like, "Oh, there's this other case." So what's kind of cool is at the beginning, they're talking about they had done a hunt in like Key West. So obviously anything Florida makes me excited because I know that. And so I like those little nods. And you got more of the downtime between the brothers and the bullshitting and the, Dean acting like Dean and Sam acting like Sam, which was really kind of cool. While you still had these 2 hunts going on, they tied in some stuff with Dad. They tied in a lot of things that had been going on at the time. The only complaint I have is they said that Dean has blue eyes, Dean has green eyes. So that was incorrect. But outside of that, I thought they did a really good job. And one of the funny things that I liked that they had in there was Dean was making Sam drive in New York because he couldn't handle driving in traffic. And I feel like that's the only time he would truly not want to be driving the Impala is in traffic. So if you're a Supernatural fan, it's worth reading. Again, it was a very quick read. I read almost the entire book on Sunday, and I believe there are more. I had not heard about this book. I thought it was new, but apparently it came out in like 2007. So some people listening to this may be like, where the hell have you been?
Where have you been?
But I will. I didn't think that they were canon. I had heard there were Supernatural books. I really just wasn't given the time of day. I kind of figured they were more like fan fiction. But I mean, there's good fan fiction out there too. I'm not gonna lie. But it was good. I enjoyed it. Worth reading.
I didn't even know they had books. I'll be honest. That's the first I've ever heard of them having books.
I think Ian recommended it, but he hasn't read it yet.
How are you going to recommend something you haven't read yet?
Because we did like a Halloween book club in October. So now we want to do a Supernatural book club. And I got the book and read it in one day. And he's on a business trip. You got to read the book.
Okay, I will if I'm invited to the book club.
Erica hasn't gotten it either. So I'm waiting for both of them haven't gotten it and I already read it. So.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, I have been watching Supernatural. I'm like halfway through season 10. I didn't mind the Leviathans, which is what we're going to wrap up here tonight. And honestly, like season 8 and 9, I really, really enjoyed season 8 and 9 with like Metatron and the angels falling.
I hate Metatron.
The whole, Metatron's a dick, dude. And
he's like the Doris Umbridge of Supernatural.
Yeah. He really is. And the whole we're going to close the gates of hell. And dang, what's his name? The vampire guy who helped out of Purgatory?
Benny.
Benny was awesome. Benny was one of my favorite characters for sure. Because he was just like an honest dude trying to make an honest way in this world. He just happened to be a vampire, right? And so season 8 and 9 flew for us because we both really enjoyed it. And so now I'm halfway through season 10 and still really enjoying it. If anything, I feel like the show really got stronger because I know everyone was like seasons 1 through 5 are like the best. Honestly, where I'm at right now, I think that's just as good as seasons 1 through 5, in my opinion. And we'll talk about it. Yeah,
the ones where it's Dean, Cass, and Sam. Those
I'm loving Demon Dean too, man. I love. He's no longer Demon Dean now, but yeah, Demon Dean
still has the mark. Yeah. But when he's like, "What'd you think you were gonna do? Stroll up here and be like, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepared to die." Like I was dying laughing at that scene. That was perfection.
And Crowley too, and has become one of my favorite, like probably my favorite character. That's not the two, But
Yeah,
we'll
jumping
save,
ahead. Yeah.
we'll save all that. I did watch Percy Jackson episode 7, and I honestly think that this show is my favorite thing that Disney has put out in a while. I know that's controversial. Like a lot of people would be like, "What about Loki?" I liked Loki. It kind of felt like the same show, kind of all 6 episodes. Whereas Percy Jackson, man, I don't know if it's my
kind of fresh. It's fresh in a new way.
Yeah. And I know I was talking to Sean earlier and he was like, well, Percy Jackson's technically 2023 because it started. I was like, yeah, but it wraps up in 24. So neither here nor there. But I love what they're doing, man. I think that the actors are all fantastic. I thought the cinematography is really great. It is a little bit rushed in the sense that like I wish their episodes like 20 minutes longer to kind of flesh some things out. But I'm loving the show. I love it. Sucks that it's about to end this week. And actually,
already?
Yeah, it is episode 8. And so then we have to sit and wait for season 2 because I think it's like the most watched or something like that. So it's pretty crazy. It's doing great. And it's really cool to see. So that's what
Braille's upset it's already about to end.
Yeah, me
she was
too,
like,
man.
I want to keep watching it, but I don't want it to end. But she's reading, so it's
good.
Rick Riordan got Kaylee to read. Now he's getting my second kid to read.
I need to get Oliver to read.
Well, as she reads it, then I agree to watch whatever she's up to with her. So I've only watched the first episode.
That's a cool idea. See, I like that.
Well, that was Kaylee wanted to watch Game of Thrones, and we're like, you're too young. And then she's like, well, can I? She was like 15. So we're like, if you read the books, we'll let you.
Makes sense.
And then COVID happened, and we're like, you can watch. We don't fucking care anymore.
Nothing
the world
matters.
is ending.
Ever since
you're missing out on your high school experience.
But really, like after 2020, nothing just matters. And here we are in 2024 somehow. And I feel like I blinked my eyes, and here we are.
You can watch this show with brothels in it since you're missing out on high school.
There you go. Now let's roll into some news. We got an early look at What If season 3, which we got some pictures of Falcon as Cap, who was next to Monica as Photon. And I don't know who this other person was. Do you?
Was it Bucky?
It might have been.
I don't know. Really sure. It didn't look familiar to me.
Me neither. However, they did look like they have some Gundam Wing style Marvels, which Gundam Wings are basically big robots. For anybody that doesn't know what Gundam Wing is, it's an anime. Used to be on Toonami.
I did not.
Yeah, they're big robots.
I thought it was Gundam style. But maybe he was going to start dancing.
No. Anyways, The Bad Batch dropped their trailer. The final season will air February 21st, which is interesting because I'll get to this in a minute. But
I Googled, when did Dooku die? Did I get that wrong?
No. Well,
but they're saying it'll still be consistent with the Dark Disciple book.
Yeah, I don't, because Asajj is dead too.
Yeah, and Asajj Ventress is going to be in. So if anybody is confused, so Bad Batch takes place immediately after Order 66. So it's immediately at the end of episode 3. And Dooku dies in episode 3. Yeah. But the movie Dark Disciple is Asajj Ventress is trying to kill Dooku. And then
dies.
I don't want the book's worth reading. I don't want to say how she dies, what happens in between, or specifically what's going on with her trying to kill Dooku. The book is fantastic. Highly recommend reading the book. Yeah. But they're saying that it's still going to be consistent. I don't know if it'll be flashbacks. I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know either. Your guess is as good as mine. Anyways, 3-episode premiere February 21st. And then February 22nd, Netflix premieres Avatar: The Last Airbender, which looks amazing. They also dropped a trailer. Really well done. Aang looks so good. The Fire Nation also, like all the cinematography in this looks really well shot. The graphics, the CGI, things like that looks really cool. Like the Fire Nation was shooting their flames out, man. It looks really freaking good. So I'm pretty pumped for that because it's one of the most popular TV series of all time as far as anime goes. And then the Marvels will release on Disney Plus February 7th, finally. So a lot of you guys were sleeping on the Marvels, man. It's a good movie. I highly recommend watching it. And then last but not least, Millie Gibson will only be in the upcoming season 1 of Doctor Who. Not sure why. There was some
I don't even. Yeah, but why is that even news? Now we know she's gonna leave.
I know that's the other thing that sucks is like because her and Chuchi had some really good chemistry, so it kind of sucks that we already know like that she's leaving after 1 season. So I feel like when you announce stuff like that, it kind of detracts from the. But who knows? We're still.
You think it's like no press is bad press, like just get people to talk about Doctor Who.
And Veridu Sethu will then be his new companion. She's been in a lot of TV series. She's a pretty good actress. So I'm cool with that. I don't know that I agree with letting everybody know that your companion is already going to be gone, but
you want the companions to be there for a while. I feel like build that bond and that relationship.
What do you got?
Right. So my big news is Deadpool 3 has wrapped filming.
Yes,
Hugh Jackman posted a video of him getting shaved, saying how much he's going to miss it, but he's not going to miss the workouts and the chicken and all that. So, we're going to get some good Hugh Jackman, fight scenes. Oh, yeah. I love Hugh Jackman as Wolverine.
Beefy.
So it was really sweet to see him and Ryan Reynolds both posting about it. I was shocked that it's already done, but I mean, the movie's supposed to come out in 6 months, so that makes sense. 6 months. Actually, we're recording on the 25th, 6 months tomorrow.
They filmed half of it before the strike, and then so they were
I didn't realize how much was filmed before.
Yeah, well, they were editing it already while the strike was going on, so they got ahead of the game. So now they don't really have that much to do, honestly.
All right, I can't. They should move it up. Let's go see it right now. John Boyega is set to star as the younger Denzel Washington in the Book of Eli prequel. That should be pretty good. I liked that movie. That movie was good.
Yeah, it was.
Jurassic World 4 is in development. I guess we'll just keep making these forever.
We don't. Dude, oh my God. The last movie was so fucking bad. Like Sam Neill, Laura Dern, Jeff Goldblum, they brought them back and they made the movie about fucking locusts.
It was fun though. It was not good. And it was not good. And it was very predictable, but it was fun seeing them all back together and seeing worlds colliding and seeing Star-Lord do the little hand thing at the same time.
Fun for who? Not Jurassic Park fans.
Fun watching it, but there were a couple times I literally knew the line that was about to be said.
Sam Neill was so totally phoning every single thing he did in that it was crazy.
Hey, I remember seeing Jurassic Park in the theater. You were but a toddler, so I am a Jurassic Park fan.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm not, whatever. Will I watch it? Yeah, probably. Come on now.
At least Jurassic World gave us that clip of Jimmy Buffett. I'm sure you've seen that where the pterodactyls are coming and he grabs the margaritas and runs.
Well, okay, but that movie was good though. I liked that movie.
Yeah, the first one was good. Then they started to get out of control. Well, same with the original ones. The first one was good and then they got out of control.
Lost World was dope. I actually liked Jurassic Park 3.
3. I was thinking the second one should have been like Jurassic Park Lost in California
gave us
or
Vince
whatever
Vaughn, and that was a good one. And they go to San Diego. It means whale's vagina. And the T-Rex goes all over the place. And I thought that was it gave us gymnastics. Fighting
like when the kid took the picture, I had that exact same camera, and the kid just takes the picture of the dinosaur.
Ate the poor dog at the pool. Like it was just.
I know the doghouse is hanging from his mouth. Okay,
it was.
Invincible season 2 part 2 will come out March 14th on Prime. And my last piece of news is just some fun news. Believe it or not that either of us were around when this started, but it is the 60th anniversary of the Avengers and X-Men, the comics. Oh, wow. So to capitalize on that, Disney and Marvel, of course, have teamed up to make more variant covers of the Amazing Spider-Man throughout the year. It looks like it'll be like every other issue will be a variant cover where you'll have, little nods to they already released the one Spider-Man that this year, and it looks exactly like the first cover of the Avengers, but it's all Mickey and friends. So they're going to do the first cover of X-Men and some other ones. So if you like they're adorable covers, and they did it for Disney 100 last year as well. I'm a sucker. I bought the backpack that has the
I love stuff.
Team up.
You know me, I love shit like that. So
I'm they capitalize. I gave them my money. That's why they're capitalizing.
You son of a bitch.
It's me. I'm the problem. Yeah, I like to judge. Meanwhile, I'm I'll just buy it. Fine.
Can't believe they're doing that. Meanwhile, there I am I can't
wait to buy this.
All mine, except for I'm not buying their Lego X-Men ship. Stupid.
Until it goes on sale.
Yeah. Anyways, we'll be right back. We're going to dive into the second half of Supernatural Season 7 after a word from these sponsors. All right, folks, welcome back we are going to be starting with Season 7, Episode 11 of Supernatural. And for this one, I got another beer from Family Business, of course. This one is called Cosmic Cowboy. It is an American IPA. We brew quality beer made for quality time. Beer has a way of bringing people together, and we believe it's best when shared. Whether it's the family you were born into or the one you choose, gather around the table, scooch down. There's a seat for everybody. Obviously, 7%. Dripping Springs, Texas is where it's from. Lauren sent me this one again. So she shared me the family.
The Cosmic Cowboy.
The Family Business. So that's what my beer is. Let's roll into. Oh, you're still.
Well, I'm still sipping soup juice, but I do have another family business one.
This one is definitely good. It's not juicy like the first one, but it's still delicious. God dang.
And I believe it's season 14 that beer actually is mentioned. Cosmic Cowboy. Cosmic Cowboy. I got a great IPA on tap from Austin. Cosmic Cowboy. And that was the day I searched. I instantly grabbed my phone, pulled up Untapped, and I'm like, holy shit, it's real. And that was when I was like, I have to get to this brewery.
And it's his brewery nonetheless, which is even crazier, right? Like,
so, yep. And I even made a sign that says Rocky's Bar, which will be relevant when you get to that episode. And I wrote Cosmic Cowboy on tap, and I have a can next to it. So
5 seasons to go. Then I'm done with the series. And then what happens next? I don't know.
I'm on fit. Then you restart it.
All right. Calm down there. All right.
It's better the second time. It's like sex. The first time, you got to get to know each other. And then once you know each other, then it's better. So the second time is better.
That is true. It's all about just feeling each other out, man. That's all it is. Episode 11, season 7, Adventures in Babysitting. Dean becomes obsessed with finding out how to take down Dick Roman, played by James Patrick Stewart. Sam helps a teenager search for her father, played by Ian Tracy, who is a hunter that disappeared, which is hilarious because she came back. Yeah. Anyways, I remember she was what?
Oh, because you just watched the episode where the daughter came back. Well, the dad comes back too later as an angel named Isham, I think. He's a dick when he comes back.
What are some fun facts you got for us?
So the title is, of course, a nod to one of the best movies ever, starring Elizabeth Shue, called Adventures in Babysitting, where she says, "Don't fuck with the babysitter," and that's the movie with Vincent D'Onofrio playing Thor. Not really Thor. That was the first time I learned about Thor, was from that movie. Lee Chambers, the dad who gets kidnapped. Oh, I already said that. Oh, I already said he's a dick too. Look at that. A few of my notes. This, you get Dean acting like a dad. Do you remember this one? This is with obviously you remember the little girl.
She's the little girl and her dad is, gets killed in this episode.
Yeah. You got Ruby from Once Upon a Time.
Yeah. Yeah. That's okay. That's what I thought. I knew she looked familiar. And I think
she's so pretty.
I looked her up and she was in Once Upon a Time. And Carrie doubted me at first, but I remember having this conversation. But it is because Dean's like, dude, like, you're too good for go have a normal kid, be a kid, like live a normal life. You don't need to be a hunter.
Meanwhile, he could never not be a hunter.
It's one of those things, right? Like, you are stuck to this life that you didn't choose.
It's like the mob,
but you want something better for somebody else. And he tried to have her have something better for her life. She was so young. She had a choice. They never really, Sam had a choice till he didn't. Dean never got that opportunity because John Winchester is a douche.
Choose to come back.
Well, yeah, but that was after his girlfriend died.
Yeah. So
like he kind of didn't have a choice because she died the same way the mom died. But yeah, no, it was a good episode. It's tragic for her. And I always appreciate when you see like the human side of Dean, because there's a lot of times when Dean's just kind of like, that's the way it's got to be, Sammy.
Well, I think that's one of the things that makes Supernatural better as the years go on, is the boys mature, especially Dean, because Sam's always a little like responsible. Whereas Dean is
all the time.
Yeah, but the earlier season, he even gets called out. He's like, why does everybody always think we're gay? He's like, maybe because you're overcompensating. Like, he acts too macho. He acts too into girls. He acts too like, well, I don't cry. I don't have feelings. And then over the years, you see him become more of a father figure, and you see him, get and even in later seasons, you really see some like phenomenal acting and like breaking down and stuff. So yeah, I like that he kind of becomes and everybody's dad. But it's funny because then all these young kids like call him like old man, and he's always like, I'm not that old.
I can relate that, Dean, but it is funny because they look at him like that father figure that they don't necessarily have. And
when he's a daddy, he's not a father figure.
Yeah, well,
but he is.
It is interesting because Dean, you would always think it'd be from Sam, who's always a more sentimental one, but kids tend to like hate Sam for the most part, where they're like very drawn to Dean because Dean just has like the natural parental instincts.
Yeah, but at the same time, he's still like a kid at heart. Like, he's still the one that like wants to play dress up, and there's an episode where he's like Thundercats. Like, he still he loves Scooby-Doo. Like, he still gets excited about all these little kid things. So I feel like because he didn't get a childhood, he's still such a kid at heart. But at the same time, because being a kid, he raised Sammy, he's just used to taking care of other kids.
Yeah, that's true. No, I do appreciate that. That's one thing that they do about this is you do get to see pieces of that with Dean, which rolls us into episode 12, Time After Time. After attacking Kronos, the time god, Dean is sent back to 1944. I
love this.
don't know if I remember this one.
This is the one where he goes back to the 40s, and he's they of course they do a whole Back to the Future reference. Oh my God, what's the guy? He's like Untouchables. He dresses up and he looks so cute in his little old-timey 40s jacket. Oh my God, what's the guy's name? The famous dude from Untouchables.
I do have issues, but some fun facts is that the date that Dean writes on the letter, November 5th, 1944, is a reference to November 5th, 1955, which was the day that Marty McFly traveled back to, and it is also the day that Doc Brown conceived the flux capacitor, which made time travel possible. Do they send Dean back the way that he goes in Back to the Future in this one? Is that one?
This is the one where Kronos is like the time god or whatever. He feeds, like people were dying because he feeds off of them so he can time travel, because he can get sent to places, but he wants to keep going back to 1944 where his girlfriend is. And then Dean goes to attack him because he's killing somebody, and he basically ends up in 1944 with him. And then the guy arrests Dean, and then they find out they're like hunting the same thing. And then he's like, oh my God, why can I? Elliot Ness. Yes, Elliot Ness. Remember the movie Untouchables?
No, I don't remember this. I don't remember this episode at all. Maybe. Wow, that's crazy.
And then they're in the house, and Sam and Jody are like doing the research, and like Dean then goes into the guy's house and he's like, oh, I don't remember what it was, an asbestos check or something. And he writes Sam on the wall and puts the letter in there. So when Sam's laying down in the room, he sees it because they have to come back right at the exact time.
I do remember that. Yeah. Okay. Because I remember Jody being in it because she had short hair at this point. You're like, oh, wow, she's had it rough lately.
But it's fun that they find the bottle that was Bobby's, and it was from Rufus or whatever. And it was, oh my gosh, I don't remember if that came before or after, but there was an episode where it's like Rufus gave him the bottle because he lost a bet. And I don't know if that episode takes place before or after that, and if it was foreshadowing or if it was after, because, they do flashbacks and stuff. But yeah, that was great. And that was when Jody don't make me use my mom voice. And Sam just kind of looks at her because Sam never had a mom.
Yeah, that's true.
But I love to see Dean loves dressing up. And I've been told, or I haven't been told, I've seen in interviews that Jensen does too. So anytime he gets to dress up like in the 40s, he was all excited because he looks so good.
You see what's crazy? I think because season 7 was I feel like I don't remember too much from season 7. However, I vividly remember season 8, 9 onwards. I don't know what it is. Maybe because season 7 was decent. So maybe I was half in and out of paying attention. I don't know. What am I doing?
I know. But this episode too, my last note is I love because at this point, that Dean is into anime porn, and he's also obsessed with taking Dick Roman down. And that's when you get the line from Sam. What does he say? Are you still into anime porn, or are you strictly into dick now? It was just so funny. And he just glares at him. I always love when they act like brothers like that. It's fun to see just them being goofballs because, everybody fucks with their siblings.
True. I do remember this next one, episode 13, Slice Girls, when Sam and Dean go up against the Amazons as they go on a killing spree, but it's twice as difficult for Dean because one of them is his daughter. Now, I remember this because doesn't the daughter grow up rapidly, right? That's this episode. Yeah. And he goes and knock on the door to see what's up. And he hears the baby talking, and the mom's trying to hide the baby and things like that. And because they had a one night stand, and next thing you know, she all of a sudden has a baby and all this other stuff. And Dean was very sus about the whole thing. So I do remember this episode.
Mm-hmm. And Sam thinks he's being crazy. Yes. This episode's sad.
It is.
Especially when, Sam's it technically wasn't. He's she technically was.
Yeah, it was his kid. Legit. Yeah. He had a kid with her. I don't care if she was an Amazonian that grew up 12 times faster than anything else. Doesn't matter how fast they grow up. That's still your kid. It's pretty depressing.
And I felt like she didn't immediately kill him because she was Dean's kid. I felt like she had that little bit of goodness in her.
Yeah. What are some fun facts from this episode?
So Emma, the little girl who is Dean's daughter, is actually the very dirty little girl from season 1, the Benders. She's the little kid that has the gross teeth, and she's that looks like that's gonna hurt. And then there's a song playing when Dean goes to the bar is called Worlds Collide, and it's actually by Laud and Swain, which is the real life band of Rob Benedict, aka Chuck.
Oh,
so that's kind of cool. And in season 15, I actually, because I'm on season 15 again, I heard it's funny because you're watching Jensen like cut a vampire's head off and you hear him singing at the same time because they used one of his songs from his big band radio company.
That's ridiculous. This next one, though, episode 14, Plucky Penny Whistle's Magical Menagerie.
I love this one.
This episode.
Really?
Sam and Dean are stumped. Somehow a group of children's personal fears are becoming a reality and killing off a parent that each child has a certain hatred for. We start with the unicorn farting rainbows after he kills a dad. Yeah, and then you get like creepy ass clowns. Like this episode was terrifying because this is like the clown when Sam's staring him down, like fighting in the little warehouse thing. And yeah, dude, this episode is creepy as shit.
I love this episode. I think it's hilarious. And I also love that, Sam has this, he's been possessed by the devil. He's been tortured by the devil. But the thing that scares him the most is clowns.
Yeah.
And he has to keep doing,
man.
Yes. But he has to, what does he keep saying? Like, if it can bleed, it can die or something like that. And he just says that because that's what Dean tells him. So he just keeps saying that over and over. But this episode had some great, like, little fun facts and lines and stuff. Do you want to do the fun facts?
Yeah. So when Cliff confesses about the meth lab and Dean says he doesn't care if he broke bad. He's referring to Breaking Bad, which Gene Beaver, aka Bobby, made a cameo. When the little boy Tyler describes his worst fear, he says robots have laser eyes, a reference to season 2, episode 12, called Night Shifter.
R.I.P. Ronald.
As Ronald was convinced the crimes were committed by mandroids that have laser eyes. Yeah, this episode, again, creepy. He's fighting the clown. The clown like wouldn't die, or just no. Anytime you get creepy clowns, man, I do not mess with those things.
But then you got the Shark Week line when he's like, yeah, it looks like an 8-footer. I don't remember what he said. And Sam just looks at him. He's like, Shark Week, man.
Yes.
It's a whole week of sharks. And it's like, I couldn't love him more. It's like, you love Shark Week? I love Shark Week. And then
that was the most I've ever liked Sam, but
the PCP crazed stripper line was fantastic. When he's like, because Sam's covered in glitter at the end, and he's like, you look like you were attacked by a bunch of PCP crazed strippers or something. Then you get the ball washer joke because he's like, the what? He's like, the ball washer. The what? I thought it was funny.
It was but like it is. I do like when. So what I love about Supernatural is I'll say it every time we do one of these is we get like heavy episodes, right? Like the one before Dean lost his kid essentially, and then we go to something so like off the wall. It's like a palate cleanser. So you get this, and then this leads us into season 7, episode 15. 4 years ago, Sam and Dean exorcised a demon serial killer. Now he's back for revenge. So this one's titled Repo Man. This is kind of because I forgot that this season was when Sam was really struggling with like Lucifer still being in his brain. Yeah. So this is a Lucifer heavy episode.
Mm-hmm. And it's the guy that was possessed by the demon. And then he like is in like not a rehab, but like a grown-up daycare almost.
Yeah.
And they think like, oh, he's doing okay. And then he like murders his dog he just rescued to like bring this demon back. So yeah. So
just kind of an episode, I guess.
It was an interesting one. I like that they did callback. So it was fun to see what happened between the episodes that we saw. But it's also one thing that they never do. They're like, we save lives and then you move on, but you're leaving lives that are completely wrecked. And this is how some of these people deal with it. But I thought it was interesting with the demon making the comment, like it was already there. I just pulled it out.
Right.
So it's like, how many breadcrumbs do you need or how much of a carrot do you need to dangle in front of somebody before they go completely evil? So I mean, I like this one. I didn't love it. But you want to do the fun facts?
Yeah. So first fun fact is that Detective Sutton recognizes the Winchester brothers as the drummer boys, Bonham and Watts, and that was their last aliases the last time we met them. Charlie Watts is the drummer for the Rolling Stones. John Bonham was the drummer for Led Zeppelin. Looks like the flashback at the beginning takes place in season 3, just between Justin Bello and Ghost Facers. Because they have spotlights on their car and they're looking for Lilith, and they used a normal exorcism. Now, the kid Colin Ford, who has played young Sam more than once, also played a young version of Nora's son in Smallville. In that episode, though, the kid aged overnight. But yeah, this episode was just filler for me. It was just kind of there. But because in episode 16, this is when we kind of get back on track with the overall Leviathan plot. Sam and Dean stumble onto one part of the Leviathan's ultimate plot while tracking down some cursed objects in a small town. Beware of ballet shoes and porn. Out with the old, it's called. This is the one with the ballet girl. She's like really kind of weird.
Yeah. And then Dean looks at the shoes and Sam has to rip them away.
Yeah.
He's like, do those look like they're your size? They were like
he was kind of like possessed.
shoes.
He wasn't like possessed, but like he was kind of like drawn in or whatever.
Yeah. The cursed object draws in who. I mean, at first it made sense with the little girl because she was in a ballet outfit, but then to see like Dean, and like I don't think boys ever do point. I don't think that's ever a boy's shoe. I could be wrong. I'm not a ballerina.
I have no idea. I'm not a ballerina either.
But yeah, they looked like point shoes. But yeah, that was hilarious. And then was it the magazine? Was Peter Yinkett, who just happens to live at 27 Johnson Lane.
Peter Yinkett living at Johnson Lane.
He's like, how is it? When they said like, how could that be cursed? It's like, really, guys, you can't like put that one together.
That was like the most obvious one of the entire thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, these episode, like we kind of get back to the overall plot as they deter away and get back to like, hey, the Leviathans are up to some things. Dick Roman's doing some bad shit with himself.
Yeah, and that guy just wanted to eat his boss.
Yeah. And then episode 17, the Born Again Identity. This kind of is fun because, the Born Identity. So Lucifer is driving Sam into madness. Desperate to save him, Dean tries to find somebody who can help. Emmanuel, who is actually Castiel with amnesia. Now, it's one of my favorite things. Like Cass is always getting messed up in some regard.
He's a disaster.
Cass is just a mess, dude. All the time it's Cass. And this one, is a large part of just there's a lot of dialogue in this one.
Yeah.
That's what I remember is just like Lucifer again is torturing Sam because they have that connection.
We get Meg back.
Yeah, we do. I like when they bring Meg Masters back, man. She was always kind of like a fun character, but then obviously she keeps dying, but yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I kind of have for this one. Nothing too crazy.
So a fun fact is Lucifer is playing Jacob's ladder with a string, or you can call it cat's cradle, where you do a little string with the fingers. In Genesis 28:10, it actually says Jacob dreams that he sees a ladder connecting heaven and earth with angels going up and down the ladder. Pellegrino, who plays Lucifer, also played Jacob in the TV show Lost.
Ooh.
Dun, dun, dun. I think it's interesting though, like for one, Cass doesn't ever sleep with this woman, and you find that out later. And it was his quote unquote wife, even though it wasn't really his wife. And she just sees him vanish and never come back. Like, what is this poor woman thinking? Like, did Cass ever think like, hey, I should go let her know I got my memory back and I'm moving on with my life? It's just never talked about again, never heard about again. Like,
forgotten
I just
completely.
feel bad for her. Yeah. Pretty much.
It is kind of hilarious that, like, again, Cass is such a disaster. Like, because in the
he's so adorable.
Recent season, was it season 9 when he ends up having sex with that angel, and she.
Oh yeah. So you've been there. Yeah, that's when he lost his virginity.
Yeah, he's like, so you knew, and she's like, I'm allowed to have fun. And it was just like, these angels are a freaking mess.
And then Dean's like, oh, did you have protection? I had my angel blade.
Yeah.
So matter of fact, like a little kid, like
yeah, he has no idea.
I had my shovel.
So oblivious to everything that goes on around him. But you would think like he would at least have some decency to be like, hey, come call her. I don't know. But
yeah,
whatever. Now, season 18, Party on Garth. I like this episode.
This is an amazing one.
Garth
I watched Wayne's World this weekend.
Wayne's World.
Party time.
Garth calls Sam and Dean for assistance in battling a ghost that you can only see when drunk. Fun fact, so many Wayne's World references as there should be. There's a brewery slogan, Party On. The boys are driving an AMC Pacer. The same car was driven by Garth in Wayne's World. Garth even compliments it. Bob Singer said of the drinking in the episodes, it's as much drinking as the CW standards and practices will allow us. Well, first of all, like, there's a lot of drinking that had to have been going on in those later seasons of Flash and Arrow for how bad they were and how awful the scripts were. But anyways, the brewery was a real brewery that's now closed. Taylor Crossing Brewery Company, 1600 McKay Ave, North Vancouver. Per Beer Advocate, their average rating was 3.28.
That's probably why they closed. 3.28 is pretty low for your average. I feel like if your average 3.75 is probably good for an average.
Yeah, like if the really good ones push just over 4, but if you're like at barely over a 3, Yeah.
Yeah.
Tough.
If your IPAs and stuff and your stouts aren't over a 4.
Especially because those are the easy ones to make. Like,
yeah, sours are all over the place because people will be like, I don't like sours, 0.5.
They're going to try a sour and they're going to be like, this is so gross. But then like your IPAs, which are typically your flagships, and your stouts, like they're bursting with flavor and you can do anything with them. Yeah. This is a lot about the brewery. But no, this is absolutely incredible because you have to be drunk to see the ghost. So there's like drunk Dean waving knives around. And I love when
Sam's like, to the brewery now.
Dude, I love when Garth is around, just because he was always such that, like, he just reminds me of Road Trip all the time.
Yeah.
That movie, the movie was hilarious. And he's just like that goofy looking skinny actor too.
And he seems so sweet. Yeah,
he does. He really seems like a cool dude, which I haven't seen him in anything since Supernatural. So it kind of, maybe I'm not watching the right movies, but this was such a fun.
He goes to a lot of the cons. Yeah.
Dude, it sucks that we only have Felicia Day at MegaCon because I would love to get more of them. But hey, it is what it is.
I feel like it's mostly because they do their own cons. I mean, you see some of them obviously show up different places. Like Misha Collins is going to be, I think, at the Seattle one.
So is Chris Evans.
I saw that.
Son of a bitch.
But who knows if we'll even get to see the big ones at MegaCon because they'll be so busy.
Honestly, though, I don't know. It's going to be so hard to like get into some of those panels, like bigger actors in general. Like,
yeah. And if you just want the info, you can always watch it on YouTube later, but you want to, see them. But there's a lot of episodes obviously that are huge, changing channels. And then you got Yellow Fever and the one Baby, which you haven't gotten to yet. Baby's fantastic. That all stand out in the fandom. This is one I don't feel like gets enough recognition. I don't know if we just liked it more because of the beer references, but also the whole freaking thing is Wayne's World, man.
It is, and dude. It's one of like the best movies. I love
Garth
it so much.
chugs the beer is so funny too. Yeah, Wayne's World. Well, I was watching with Brielle this weekend, and she's like, "Can you stop saying every line?" I was like, "No, okay, sorry,
I can't."
It was hard. I'm like, "Sure." But so Dean's making fun of brewery owners like throughout the episode, which I think is hilarious. And I Googled it and he did not own his brewery yet. So I just thought it was funny that he's like, but then he tries the beer and he's like, "Oh, this is really good." So
I wonder if that led him to thinking about,
maybe. I don't know if he was already home brewing or what. I'd love to get his full beer origin story.
Did he ever
somewhere?
Yeah. Did he ever homebrew?
So the story I read, because I did Google it one day when we were planning the trip because they weren't doing tours because of COVID at that time. Right. And it looked like the guy who plays Arrow in Smallville, he asked him to store his brewing equipment because he was doing something. And then Jensen and Jensen's brother-in-law, so his wife's brother, used the equipment and brewed beer.
The guy who plays Arrow, he's in like This Is Us and all that.
Yeah, and he's the stripper in Bad Moms. It was his brewing equipment, apparently. That's what I've read. I'll have to double fact check this.
Okay, now I want to get him on the show. Like, obviously, because that's so cool.
Okay.
How do we get both of them on the show? Like, that'd be so cool. Obviously, it's so much easier said than done. It will probably never happen.
I don't know. I'm sure. Yeah, I'll just hit up Jensen after this episode and see if he wants to come on, talk beer.
Maybe once a week. I'm just going to keep firing off messages.
Yeah, that's how that works.
And be like, "Hey, does somebody want to come on? Does somebody want to come on? Can you come on?"
And here's Matt's restraining order.
I mean, look, guys, we're obviously big deals. We have panels at MegaCon. Like, I'm just saying.
And you're now known as a stalker.
Yeah, right.
And Mr. Fizzles. And you get the Jedi thing that the sword Jedi'd into his hand. So that's when we get the first glimpse of like Bobby.
Yeah.
As a ghost. And, you get the Mr. Fizzles. I love that.
I really enjoyed this. This was a fun episode, man. Like a fun episode. Leading us into, speaking of Ghost Bobby, episode 19 of Grave Importance. Bobby's spirit tries to help Sam and Dean as they try to find the missing friend inside a haunted house. This one was kind of like
dark.
It was
this
dark.
one. Okay. Kudos to this woman, Annie, who has slept with all of them. Really? She slept with Bobby and Sam and Dean. You didn't pick that up?
No.
They make comments throughout it. So Sam and Dean are talking about like meeting her, and he's like, "You don't know her like I know her," and he's like, "Oh, I know her like." And he's like, "Oh, that we had a hunt together and we were in the trenches," and so they both suddenly realized they both slept with her. And then Bobby later is like, "Well, you don't know her like I knew her." I was like, "Oh my god!" Like y'all are all wiener cousins. That's weird.
It's Eskimo brothers. Okay, get it right. Wiener cousins sounds so weird.
I thought it was, maybe it's Bajanga Sisters.
No, it's Eskimo Brothers.
I'm thinking the girl version is Bajanga Sisters.
I've never heard of the girl version. What is Bajanga?
That's from Scrubs. I don't know.
Fucking fine. But yeah, it's Eskimo Brothers, which, dude, imagine being Eskimo Brothers with the guy who's essentially your dad. That's
yeah, it's pretty gross. Or your brother. Like, I wouldn't want to.
That's weird than your dad.
Even when I hear people like, oh, we slept with twins or whatever, which happens in Supernatural, I'm like, that's gross. They're sisters. That's nasty.
You made out with your sister, dude.
Well, I hope they didn't make out with each other, but bleh. Oh, you're thinking of Luke and Leia?
Yeah.
Oh, and the fancy lady. That was funny. I'm a fancy lady.
Yeah. This was an episode that you do because you get Bobby back. I mean, I always love that because I was wondering, I was like, Bobby's dead. Are we going to get him back? You have to bring Bobby back. And they found a way to bring him back.
Yeah. I mean, in Supernatural, even, for one, nobody stays dead. But for two, they do flashbacks and stuff, too. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, because there is more to like Bobby. He just isn't a one-off in this episode.
Right. It's not like this.
Going forward, he like kind of helps him out for a few episodes. Mm-hmm. Which this next one, the girl with the Dungeons and Dragons tattoo, brings our girl Felicia Day. Sam and Dean discover that Frank's hard drive containing everything on the Leviathans is now in Dick's company building. To retrieve it, they ask for help from one of their employees, a young computer hacker. Felicia Day, Charlie, yes. The episode title is a play on the book The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo by Stieg Larsson. It is the first book in the series revolving around a strong female lead with amazing hacker abilities. When Charlie says she's going to kick it in the ass, that's a nod to Kim Manners, who was a director in the early years and passed in 2009.
You hear them say that throughout the show, which it's always a nod to Kim Manners.
Yeah. Looks like Trump may be working with Leviathan when Charlie hacks into Dick Roman's email. An email is shown on the screen that says Agent Valente, accelerated customs clearance through JFK, package now en route. Private jet courtesy of Mr. Trump is due at Downey Airport near Corporation ahead of schedule. He's not a Leviathan, but he's very easily one of those dick faces that are.
Well, I don't think he's a Leviathan because he's mentioned in later seasons as Trump.
Well, yeah. Well, but like Donald Trump is not going to be a Leviathan because he's one of those assholes that works with the bad guys because he's just a shitty piece of shit. But
a shitty piece of shit.
I love that we finally got to meet Charlie, because I think she's great. Like, she's so naive at this point versus when we see her in the next season and subsequent seasons. But it's her shirts are always like nerd themed. She's very, very much into like all the Star Wars and Harry Potter and all of that kind of stuff. And she's so willing to help. Like, she's one
Dean
of
calls Sam a Dumbledore.
Yeah, like she's one of like the better characters. And she honestly though, like, she's a real one. She's down to help. Like, she does a lot for them, in the next, obviously, because we're getting to the end of the season.
Right. You realize she's not a one-off.
No. Yeah. No, she's around to stick around. That I do like this episode.
And her tattoo.
And I was.
Do you have any tattoos? Is Princess Leia straddling a like 9-sided die or whatever it is? And Dean just is like, what? Just like, I was drunk. It was Comic-Con.
Honestly, like, I would.
We've all been there.
I'm going to go get a Supernatural tat at Megacon.
I think he even said that we've all been there.
It's true. See, Comic-Con, dude, there's always a tattoo area for Comic-Con.
Oh, there's a huge area, but I think they fill up too, though.
They do
I feel
pretty
like
fast.
Yeah. Ian got one the one year I couldn't go because Logan was like a week old.
I won't at MegaCon just because it's so busy, but maybe at GalaxyCon Richmond, you might catch me getting one. Anyways, yeah, no, this is a good episode. And then episode 21, reading is fundamental. Sam and Dean have possession of a word of God, but are unable to read it. They find a young prophet that can help. Unfortunately, the angels and Leviathans are also after him. And this is when we first meet Kevin. Poor Kevin.
See, this episode was really funny.
Well,
when he's like,
poor Kevin, just because of how Kevin ultimately finds his fate.
Finds his demise. Well, in his story is even sadder than you think.
Okay.
But it's just like when he's like, so you can read the God tablet. I heard there's a recipe how to punch dick on there. And he goes, I don't know what you're saying. I was like, what? And then I saw, because obviously I follow a lot of random crap, the scene where Sam's chasing Kevin, and Kevin's running zigzag like he's running away from an alligator. And Sam's like falling over himself. Like every time he zigzags, Sam like falls. And then I read something that it's like moose cannot run in zigzags because they're so heavy, they'll just fall to one side when they go to turn.
I love because his nickname is Moose, obviously from Crowley, which is great. Yeah, no, this is Dean says we need the tablet to end Dick Roman's Soylent crap. I don't know how to pronounce that word. He's referring to the sci-fi thriller Soylent Green, which came out in 1973, which is about feeding an overpopulated dystopian Earth with those who have overpopulated it.
Oh, and that's what they're trying to feed the fat humans, or they're trying to fatten us up and feed us to the Leviathan.
But yeah, no, this was great. We got finally, Kevin, who plays a really pivotal role in the coming seasons, and Cass is still being Cass, but we get Meg again. And I
love him and Meg.
Yeah, they're so like brother and sister-ish kind of deal.
Yes. I'm just looking at all my notes. Well, and then when Dean or Cass holds up the sorry game.
Oh, yeah.
And then the Metatron thing was like when he's like Metatron and he's like the Transformer. And just very subtly, Dean's like, no, Megatron's a Transformer. Metatron.
Again,
and then what's
the pop culture, man?
Yes. They grew up in hotels. They watched a lot of TV.
Yeah.
And then Hester, you smoked thousands in heaven. You gave a big scary speech and then you were gone. What the hell was that? And Castiel goes, rude for one thing. He's so cute. And then when he pops up in the car, when Meg's like, he's like, are you okay? She's like, don't ask me that or whatever. And she tells him we're there in the car and he just boops Kevin's nose.
Yeah. Yeah.
Boop. After he just showed up out of nowhere. And
you already got the dick recipe. Yeah.
Yeah. You can read the chicken scratch on the God Rock. That was the exact line. There's some sort of how to punch dick recipe in there.
Well, this takes us to our next two episodes, with the final two. Season 7, episode 22, There Will Be Blood. To officially kill the Leviathan, Sam and Dean need the blood of an alpha. They find the alpha vamp and a Stockholm syndromed victim. But Dick knows what the Winchesters are up to and sends his men after them. Now, some fun facts. The man on the bench that the Winchesters take blood from is wearing a plucky penny whistle t-shirt. Son of a gun. Gasp.
Saw the alpha vamp at Fan X.
We did. Is that the only time
your
he
wife
ever appears?
No, he comes back.
Oh, I've been waiting on him to come back. And I was like, this guy acts like he's so much bigger than he apparently is, because I haven't seen him since.
Well, this isn't the first episode he was in, because he was in the one.
I know. He was in the earlier season. Yeah. But I'm saying,
yeah, that was the one your wife took the picture of me, standing very far away.
He's like 4. He's in all of 4 episodes, and he thinks he's like God's gift to Earth. And it's like, dude, you're riding the coattails so hard. But if he's in more episodes, I'll allow it.
It might still only be like 4, but yeah, he does come back again.
Well, good for him. You know what? I would too. I can't even hate. If you're in I don't care if I'm in one episode of the most popular TV show ever. I would flaunt that shit too.
Hell yeah. I mean, we interviewed Brian O'Halloran.
Oh, we're still riding those coattails, man. That's our friend of the show. He doesn't.
I'm just going to say Randall Arison, but that's wrong. Jeff
Anderson. Yeah.
Was combining Randall and.
Poor Jeff Anderson just got. Anyways.
But he was in full costume too at FanX. So I do appreciate that. He had the nails and the teeth and everything. And I have seen pictures of people with Misha Collins where he's wearing the trench coat, which I appreciate. I'd rather have them in their costume.
Yeah, honestly, especially because he literally wears the trench coat every time you see him. Like, he's out of costume one time, I know when he's human. Yeah, when he's human and he's working at in Idaho of all places, like he's not in his trench coat. But yeah, any other time he's in his damn trench coat. But yeah, the finale, There Will Be Blood, or that's not the finale. I'm sorry. Survival of the Fittest. Sam and Dean plan to storm Dick's company building and kill him once and for all with the help from Castiel and Meg, providing Bobby doesn't get to Dick first. Baby's back. That's a big thing. Dick Roman calls Sam and Dean frickin' frack. He's referring to the Swiss ice skating comedy duo who were members of the original Ice Follies in 1937. Shut up, Meg. Duh, Family Guy quote. Yeah. This was Charlie plays another big role. She kind of gets in there and she has to really play it cool as she's hacking, and Dick's over there breathing down her neck. And that's when they kind of figure out that, hey, she's stealing stuff from us. And that
was in her episode. She's
you're right. I'm sorry. She's not in this episode.
Yeah, you don't see her again, I think, till the LARPing episode.
This is where Dean gets taken into purgatory at the end, right?
Yes, it ends in purgatory with him and Cass, who's still in his scrubs and trench coat.
Yeah, he gets taken to purgatory at the end of this episode with Cass, and then something always happens at the end. But no, overall though, golden.
Yes, as we wrap this up, I'm drinking the Golden Age German style pills from Family Business.
Brewing.
Which is a silver medal winner at GABF.
Good for them. My overall thoughts in the season, though, was that the season isn't as bad as people say it. Like, there's always like a lot of thoughts that people hate the Leviathan season, and I don't really understand why.
I don't get it either.
Like, is it the best season ever? No, but it's not a bad season.
I don't know that I could pick one specific season. But I can pick good episodes out of every season.
Well, yeah, there's going to be good and bad episodes in every season, because when you do 23 episodes a season, you're not always going to have the quality that is award winning by any means. But this was not a bad season. You got really cool people like Charlie. She's our first introduction to her. Kevin, who I like Kevin, we get to see them for the first time. And so don't really understand. Like Ken, for example, he was like, I'll come on and talk Supernatural with you as long as it's not the Leviathan one. I'm like,
I don't think Gnome liked the Leviathan one either.
I don't think he did either. It's like, dude, why, man? Like, do I need to revisit it? No. If I'm doing a rewatch, yeah, I will, but I'm not going to single this season out above all the other seasons. But again, when you have 15 seasons worth of content, like
the dick jokes alone were.
Yeah, there was a lot of pop culture references too in this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a ton. And we got High Dean in this one with the I don't care, then I don't care. Yeah, that was funny.
That's
the angry waiter. Yeah,
that's kind of my thoughts. I thought it was a decent season, not the best, not the worst. Y'all just needed something to complain about, and that's where I end my season 7. Of course, we are going to potentially have Ryan Curtis on season 8, who worked on the show as doing special effects. So more to come there. We will be at Megacon this coming week doing our Supernatural panel. What if Sam and Dean were in our favorite horror movies? So start thinking in the back of your brains, because audience participation is going to be a big one for this one. We love to get the audience involved. Lauren has all sorts of goods to toss out and things like that. Come find us. And you do have any final thoughts?
No, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm ready for purgatory.
See you guys this week. We will see you this week where we won't be in purgatory. We're going to be doing fun stuff. And thanks, guys, for hanging out. We'll catch you here soon. Check out our upcoming Megacon preview episode, which will release on Wednesday to get you ready for this weekend's Megacon. We'll talk to you soon. Cheers.